use a Bosch to mix my bread dough, which is one fine machine. In fact, my sister has a Bosch that's probably pushing 50 and it's still going strong. They are worth the investment, especially if you advance to making other bread dough recipes. But good news, you can make this bread dough recipe with a KitchenAid, which I did for years, or any other sturdy mixer. If you happen to have some muscle, you can even make this recipe by hand. My college-age nephew makes homemade bread, which totally impresses the ladies. Homemade bread is the best pickup ever. Another piece of equipment to consider would be a grain mill and grind your own flour. Grain mills have really dropped in price in recent years. This is a kitchen mill from Blendtec. It's under $200. It's very easy to use. You pour your grain in the hopper and it instantly turns it into flour. It has different coarseness settings, so whether you want a fine pastry flour, you can put it on fine, or if you want cracked wheat cereal or cornmeal, you can put on the coarser setting. And you can discover for yourself what it's like to have different flours of different grains that you use. You can of course have wheat flour and soy flour, oat flour, rice flour, and of course regular popping corn can turn into cornmeal. You can really save a lot of money by buying your grains in bulk and grinding them yourself, and that way your kitchen mill will pay for itself in a quick time. You might be surprised to know that if you do grind your own wheat flour, that you should let it rest for a while. I usually grind wheat about a week or two before I'm going to use it, and the reason is because the bran in the wheat, which is great for fiber, acts like little razors, cutting the leaven so the bread doesn't rise as full. So it's best to let your wheat flour rest for a while so the natural sugars can soften up the edges. Wheat flour does go rancid faster than white flour does, so whether you grind it yourself or you purchase it at the store, make sure that you use it by the best if used by date, or within a couple of months of grinding it. It is really fun to little red hen it and grind your own flour. It's nice to have a feeling of self-sufficiency. When you have wheat stored, you will always have flour. And wheat stored properly can last forever. In fact, they found some 2,000-year-old wheat in some ancient Egyptian tombs, ground it up and make great flour. So make sure that you keep all of your grains, whether they are ground into flour or not, in tightly sealed containers away from light and heat. So if you go this route, grinding your own wheat into flour, you may not be aware that there are actually two kinds of wheat. There is red wheat, which most people are familiar with, but there is also white wheat, which actually grinds up into a flour that is lighter in taste and in color, closer to actual white flour. So all the better to introduce your family to whole wheat flour with the white wheat.